Hi everybody, it's Julie the Whippy Chick and welcome back to my channel, and I'm so excited that you've decided to make this adorable baby bonnet with me. I don't have a baby anymore. My baby is now turning 19. Actually this week he's turning 19. So I don't have a baby to model my baby bonnet, but my baby's old teddy bear said he could. So this bonnet features a stitch called the double V stitch cluster, and it's super easy. I think it's pretty beginner friendly, and if you are interested in making the pom-poms to go on the straps, you might want to use a pom-pom maker for that, though there are lots of tutorials to make pom-poms without a pom-pom maker, but it's a lot easier with a pom-pom maker. At any rate, I used Premier Just yarn, and this is what is left at the end. So I made this whole bonnet, I made this whole bonnet, and this is what I had left over. So you won't need a full skein of this. This was 131 yards, but you will need at least half of one. So, all right, so let's get started. I'm so excited. So cute. So cute. Okay, to get started, we're gonna start with yarn. You can use whatever you want. Just bear in mind that if you use a smaller weight yarn, you're going to get a smaller bonnet. If you use a heavier weight yarn, you're going to get a bigger bonnet. So I am using a 4-weight worsted yarn by Premier. It's called Just Yarn, and it's a 4-weight yarn. Okay, this is actually available at the Dollar Tree. I'm using the color Soft Gold. You're also going to need a crochet hook that's going to correspond with your yarn. I'm using a size H or 8 or 5mm hook. Just happens to be my favorite. You are going to need a pair of scissors. I love these little scissors. They've got this cute little cover that goes over them so they don't poke you or your project. And you are going to need a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, for round 1, we are going to start with a magic ring. I'm just going to do my magic ring a little bit slower here for you. If you do not know how to make a magic ring, there are dozens of tutorials online, and I will leave up in the cards here a link to my tutorial for a magic ring. There are different ways to do it. So, okay, so after your magic ring, we are going to chain 2. This is not going to count as a stitch. And we are going to do 10 double crochets into the magic ring. Okay? And again, this isn't going to count as one, and it's not going to count as one as we're working in the round. Okay, so we're going to do 10 double crochets into the magic ring. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and once we get to the end, we are going to join with a slip stitch in the first double crochet of the round, not in the chain, in the first double crochet. Okay, so I'm going to cinch my circle up with my magic ring here, pull that tight. And here's our chain. So I don't want to join in the chain. I'm going to join in the first stitch, which is right here. This is just how I like to join my circles. I don't know, it keeps that little goofy space you get when you join into the chain away. I don't know, that's just me. So that's round 1 done. Okay, so we are ready for round 2. We are going to chain up 2. Again, this is not going to count as one of our double crochets. We are going to put a double crochet, actually we're going to put 2 double crochets in every one of our stitches. So we went from having 10 double crochets to having 20. We'll have 20 at the end of this round. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoops, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so once again we are going to join, but we're not going to join in the chain. We are going to join in the first double crochet stitch that we've made for this round. And that's just with a slip stitch. All right, we are on to round 3. For round 3, we are going to chain 2. We are going to place 1 double crochet in the first stitch and 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So there's 1 and 2, and that is going to be our pattern all the way around, and that's going to give us a total of 30 stitches by the end. So that's 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in the next, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in the next, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in the next, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in the next, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2 in the next. And I'm going to let you continue doing this all the way to the end of the round, and I'll meet you when we get there. Okay, so I am at the end of the round, and I counted my stitches, and I do have 30, so now I am going to join at the top of the first stitch, not the chain, the first stitch. I join there with a slip stitch. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's the back of the baby's head. So let's move on to round 4. For round 4, we are going to continue the same kind of pattern. We're going to chain up 2, and we are going to continue to increase This, as always, does not count as a stitch. So our first 2 stitches are going to have 1 double crochet in them each. The third stitch is going to have 2. Okay, so let's get started on that. So we've got, oops, 1. Actually, I think I went into the wrong stitch. Fix that. 1 in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, and 2 in the third stitch. 1 in the next, 1 in the next, 2 in the next. And you might have noticed that I kind of stretched my work there for a second. And if you're having trouble figuring out whether or not it's this stitch or this stitch, I like to just kind of stretch my work and I can see where I placed my last stitch. So I've got 1 in this stitch. I can see the next one is empty here. 1 in the next, and 2 in the next. So once again, we're increasing by 10. So at the end of this round, we will have 40 stitches. So I'm going to stop the video and let you work on yours and I'll work on mine and we'll meet up at the end. Okay, so we are all the way around and you might want to take a moment to count your stitches. Sometimes that is taking a chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So perfect. I have 40 stitches and I am going to join with a slip stitch into that first stitch. Okay, so we have one more round that we are going to increase, and that is round 5. So let's get started with round 5. Okay, so I am just going to chain up 2, basically doing just what we did before, only this time we are going to do a double crochet into the first 3 stitches, and in the 4th stitch we are going to place 2 double crochets. Okay, so we have 1 double crochet in the first stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, and 2 double crochets in the next. One double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 2 double crochets in the next. One double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, 2 in the next. All right, I will continue going all the way around until I have 50 stitches and I will meet you there. All right, so here we are at the end of round 5. I've counted my stitches and I am right on track with my 50 stitches. So I am going to go ahead and join with a slip stitch. And now from this point, we're going to move on to row 1. We are no longer going to be working in rounds. We are going to work in rows. So row 1. Oops, there we go. Row 1. So we're going to start row 1 with a chain of 1, and we are going to single crochet into the back loop only of each stitch. Now if you've never done that, I'm going to show you what that means. Each stitch has 2 loops. Okay, this is the front loop, this is the back loop. So we are just going to single crochet into the back loop only. So I'm going to insert my hook only in the back loop. See, I only have the 1 there on my hook. And that's all there is to it. Back loop only. And we're just going to do that in every stitch all the way around. And what that's going to do is it's going to leave this nice little ridge line here, and it's also going to help those stitches fold forward. Okay, so I'm just going to continue all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of this row. I have made it to the end of row 1. We are not going to join here because we are going to work in rows now. So we are going to move on to row 2. So for row 2, we're going to get a little fancy, okay? We are going to chain 2, turn our work, and we are going to do a double crochet in the first stitch. And then we are going to skip a stitch. So we're not going to touch this stitch here. We're going to work into the next stitch. And we are going to do a double V-stitch cluster. Okay? So what that means is we are going to do a double crochet. And then another double crochet into the same stitch. Chain 1, double crochet back into that same stitch, and another double crochet into that same stitch. So that is our double V-stitch cluster. So we've got a V-stitch with 2 double crochets, 2 on this side and 2 on this side, so actually 4. Okay, and that is our cluster stitch. We are going to skip 2 stitches and then do another cluster. So we're going to skip this stitch and this stitch. We're going to work right into that one. So we're doing it again. Double crochet into that stitch, another double crochet into the same stitch, chain, oops, double crochet into that same stitch, and another double crochet into that same stitch. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches and work into the next, another cluster. So double crochet, double crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, double crochet into that same stitch, another double crochet into that same stitch. Skip 2, double crochet, double crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, double crochet into the same stitch, and double crochet into the same stitch. Skip 2, double crochet, double crochet into the same stitch, chain 1, double crochet into that into that same stitch, double crochet into that same stitch, skip 2. And we're going to work this all the way across. Always working that same cluster. Okay, skip 2, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and double crochet. I think I am crocheting a hair or a fiber of some kind into my project. All right, we're going to skip 2, work another cluster, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Oh, there's that. Maybe it's one of my doggy's hairs. Sorry about that. Double crochet, double crochet, skip 2, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet back into the same stitch, double crochet back into the same stitch. And I am going to continue working in this way all the way to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so I will meet you when we get to the last 2 stitches. Okay, so I've come to the end of the row. I just have a couple stitches left. This here is not a stitch, this is actually a chain. So we've just got these 2 stitches here left. We're going to skip this one and we're just going to work 2 double crochets right into that one. And that is going to be the end of this row. So there's 1 and 2. And you can start to see how it is starting to form. Now this here is the inside of our bonnet. This is the outside of the bonnet. And we've got this ridge here, which is where it's starting to fold over. This here is the base of the neck. Okay, so let's move on to row 3. Let's find a good angle. Okay, we are going to chain 2, turn our work, and work a double crochet into the second stitch. Okay, so now that we're working in these rows, these chain 2s are counting as our double crochets. So let's turn our work, and we are going to work a double crochet into the second stitch, which is right here. So see, now that's working as a double crochet now. So we've got 2 double crochets there. And we are going to continue with our cluster stitch. And instead of putting it into a stitch, we are going to work into the chain 1 space that we made in our previous round. So we had our 2 double crochets, and then we had our chain space and 2 double crochets. We are going to work right into that chain space now, which actually makes things a lot easier and it goes a lot faster. So we're going to work 1 double crochet into that chain space, another double crochet into that chain space, chain 1, double crochet into the chain space, and another double crochet into that chain space. Okay, and that is so easy to do. I love when I can build right into the chain space. Right, we're going to do that all the way to the last cluster. Okay, so double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, double crochet, go right into the next one, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, double crochet. Go right into the next, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, double crochet, go right to the next, double crochet, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, double crochet. And I'm going to continue going all the way around, and I will meet you when you get to that last stitch, or I'm sorry, that last cluster, and then we'll do the last 2 stitches together. Okay, so I have made it all the way to the end of my row, and I've done my cluster here, and I'm going to skip over to my last 2 stitches and work just double crochets right into those. Okay, so on these rows we just start and end with those 2 double crochets. There's 1 and 2. All right, from here on out, rows 3 through 6 are exactly the same. So we've done we've done 1, 2, 3. We just finished row 3. So we are going to do 4, 5, and 6 exactly the same as row 3. We are going to use our little clicky. Let's chain up 2, which is going to count as our first double crochet, and double crochet into the next stitch, and work our cluster into the chain 1 space of the previous row. There's 1, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 1, 2 double crochets. And you're just going to do it, like I said, exactly what you did in the last row. Work those clusters right into the chain 1 space of the previous row. Okay, so I'm going to continue to work on mine right up to row 6, and I'll meet you at the end of row 6. Okay, so we have made it to the end of round 6. Hooray! From here we are going to tie off, fasten off, and it's time to start our straps. Now if you want to go ahead and weave in your ends now, you can, or you can wait to the end. I always wait to the end. Weaving in the ends is my least favorite. But as you can see, our bonnet has really taken shape. Here is the back, this is the neck part, and these are the sides and top. So little baby's head would go in there. So cute. The next thing we need to do though is make our straps. Now I do want to put out there that little babies should never ever have something tied around their neck. The straps are really for decoration, and if you were to put them around their neck, please, please, please only do that if you were taking their picture or something like that where you were watching them. Never let them sleep with something around their neck. All of that. Have to put that out there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to leave a nice long tail and make a slip knot, and then we are going to chain up 40 chains. Okay, we're going to chain 40. So, 1. Oops. And we'll speed this up so you don't have to watch me chain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, so we've got a nice long chain of 40 stitches. From here, we are going to attach this chain to the last stitch that we did. Okay, and we are going to work single crochet stitches into this area just evenly so that it has a nice edge. Okay, it'll just clean it up. See how it's kind of bumpy and knobby, and we want that to be nice and smooth looking. So we're going to, using a slip stitch, we're going to keep our chain right on our hook, and we're going to go into that last stitch that we completed, which is right here. And we're just going to join that with a slip stitch. And from there, we're just going to work evenly along here, placing single crochets. So we're just going to be going into these spaces. Usually for the wider spaces I put 2, and the narrower spaces I put 1, but really you're just gonna kind of place them in there evenly just so it makes it tidy. And once I get like halfway through, I'll show you the difference so you can see why it just makes it look nicer. It's always kind of tricky to figure out where to place our stitches when we do this. Kind of making a little border. Okay, so that's about halfway down, but you can see where this has this nice braided look to the edge, where this one's still kind of bumpy. So that's why we're doing that. So we're just going to work our way all the way across this little V-shaped part of the bonnet. And this is where the bonnet rests on the back of the head down towards the neck of our sweet little baby. I have a lot of babies coming into my family. Well, not a lot, but a couple babies coming into my family right now. My sister's about to have a baby in a few more weeks, and my nephew's wife is about to have a baby in a few more weeks. So I've been doing a lot of baby stuff. So once we get this edge kind of tidied up, and we get back over to the other side, which is I think right about here. Actually, I built that stitch into, I kind of find where the first stitch is in this row and place your last chain, or your last single crochet there. From there, we are going to just continue chaining. We're going to chain 40 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I'm losing my chain, 18, my bonnet is pulling my arm down, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So just going to snip that, also leaving a long tail and pulling that through. Okay, now you could be done there, just to, you know, weave in your ends and be done, because you have your little straps and you've got your little bonnet. But I like to put pom-poms on my straps. So that is why I leave these long tails, so that I can attach some pom-poms. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so before I actually make the pom-poms, I am going to go ahead and weave in my ends, and I just thought I'd show you how I do that. So I just take the end of the yarn and I wrap it over the top of my darning needle or tapestry needle. I squeeze it tight, I pinch it nice and tight, and then I'm able to just thread it pretty easily. From there, it's just a matter of running back and forth under some stitches just to hide the end of the yarn. Now, if you only go through there once, it will wiggle loose, especially after you wash it. So I go back and forth at least 3 times. I find that if you go back and forth at least 3 times, you're good. Tends to stay in place. And it's okay to even split through the fiber a little bit. I've done that too. Just keeps it all very secure and tidy. And there's just a matter of snipping that end nice and short. And look, gone. Hello. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so I'm going to finish weaving in my ends and grab my pom-pom maker. Okay, so the pom-pom maker that I use is the Clover. I got this pom-pom maker set, I believe at Michael's. I honestly do not remember how much I paid for it, but there is a video that I made on how to use the pom-pom maker, and I probably have the price listed there. So I'll leave a link for that. But for this little bonnet, I am going to use the smallest size. So I'm going to just grab this. And yeah, I'll make my little pom-poms. Okay, so funny story. I was editing my video and I was just putting in the last part where I show you how to use a pom-pom maker, and I realized that I didn't have the footage. I don't know what happened to it, but I'm going to redo it. So you take your pom-pom maker and you open up these little levers just on one side. It's pretty easy to do. And you're going to take your yarn and just kind of hold it in place here. Just kind of anchor it while you get the first couple wraps in. You're just going to wrap that around. And you want to make it fairly even. You don't want it too thick on one side and not thick enough on the other. So, and once you've got it pretty thick and pretty even, you're going to close it back up and trim it off. Snip. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. These little levers open right up. And just going to wrap that side. And again, you want it nice and even. It's really very simple and actually kind of fun. After I got this thing, I was putting pom-poms on everything because it's just fun. They're fun and easy to make. Okay, so I'm going to close that side up and trim off that end. Now, it's really pretty easy, this next step. You're going to take your scissors, and for whatever reason, I like these scissors for this particular task. They just fit well. But you're going to run your scissors right under these threads and snip as you go. And you can see it's got like this little nice indentation there where your scissors fit just perfect. So you just do that, and then you turn it and you just continue on the other side. Oops, there we go. And so the next step, you're going to cut a long piece of yarn, and you're going to run this yarn, whoops, right over that same place where you had your scissors, but you're going to give it a little tug. See, I'm holding it underneath. You're going to give it a little tug until you feel it fall all the way through. Okay. From there, you're going to just tie it pretty tightly. Not so tight that you break your yarn though. I've done that before, so you want to be careful with certain yarns, especially roving yarns. It's easy to break them. So just going to go ahead on through, tie a nice little knot. And then comes the fun part. You lift one up, lift another one up, lift the third one up, lift the fourth one up, and then these actually come apart. And they go right back together. It's the most fun little gadget. Give your pom-pom a little shake, and you're always going to have, whoops, you're always going to have some longer pieces, so you're just going to trim it up nice and even until it's just the way you want it. Now obviously the more you wrap it, the thicker it's going to be. But that is all there is to that. Oh, I'm making confetti here. Whoops, making some confetti. Okay, and I would show you how to attach it, but I've already attached some. I've already attached some to my little bonnet here. But basically we had that long tail there, and I just tied them. I just tied them together. And then when you trim where you tied it, it blends right in. The ends blend right in, so you don't even have to weave in any ends or anything like that. Okay, so that is it. That is the whole thing. You made it. You did it to the very end. Now you've got a beautiful bonnet to maybe give as a gift at a baby shower and impress everybody with your cool skills. Or maybe you're making this for your own little one. Or maybe you're just making it for your teddy bear or your baby doll, whatever. Thank you so much for doing this tutorial with me. I hope you found it helpful, and If you did, please feel free to share it and click like and subscribe and all the YouTube stuff. And also, if you'd like a written pattern of this bonnet, there is a written pattern available on my Ravelry and also on my Etsy page. So the links are in the description below. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.